Here is our first example on the law of sines. And your formula from the previous slide for law of sines is this. Sine of A, that's angle A, over side A is equal to sine of angle B over side B. And you're going to solve this like a proportion, which means you need to be able to fill in 3 out of these 4 values to be able to solve this. Which means one of these fractions you need to have a complete fraction for. So you have to know angle A and side A. So what you look for when you're doing law of sines is some place where you have an angle and a side across from each other where you have the complete pair. Now what you'll notice is in this example I don't actually have that. Okay, I don't have an angle and a side that are across from each other. But do I have a way to figure that out? So take a look here. I've got 32 degrees and then I have no side length up here to go with it. I don't have a way to solve for that side length, so that's not going to do me a whole lot of good. Here I have a pair, but this side I don't know. This is what I'm solving for. So this is going to be my variable here. And then here I'm missing an angle measure. But do I have a way to get that angle measure? Well, if I have 2 angles in a triangle, remember I can always subtract from 180 to get the third. So I could take 180 minus 70 and 32, and that would leave me with 78 degrees. Oops. 78 degrees up here in this corner. Now I have a complete pair here. So sometimes they start you out with that complete pair. Sometimes you have to work for it a little bit. So when I go to set this up in my formula, here's what this is going to look like. My completed pair is the 78 degrees with the 12. So I'm going to say sine of 78 over 12 is equal to, and then I'm going to go for that side. This is the side I'm looking for, so I want to make sure I include this pair. I would say sine of 70 over side length B. Okay, because this B right here, this is what I'm looking for. Okay, now to solve, I'm going to cross multiply. So I'm going to do sine of 78 times B equals 12 times sine of 70. And I'm going to write it out just like that for a second, and then you're going to see what I'm going to type in my calculator. So first I have B times sine of 78, that's this diagonal here, equals 12 times sine 70. And then if I'm solving for B, I'm going to divide over here on this side by sine 78. Divide here by sine 78. So this cancels, and now I have B is equal to this. Okay? And that whole thing can be typed into your calculator all in one shot. What you've got to be careful of is when you type it in your calculator is going to open a parenthesis right here. Make sure you close it before you do the division. Otherwise it's going to do like sine of a sine, and that's not going to make a whole lot of sense. So let's go ahead and try typing that in our calculator. When I type that whole mess in my calculator at one time, I end up with B being about equal to, after I round it, 11.5. Now what you do want to do is make sure your answer makes sense. So 11.5 over here, that's just slightly smaller than this, and that's to be expected because this angle is slightly smaller than this angle. So I would say 11.5 seems reasonable here.